Watch before deleted, she teased. I only came for one thing before tossing her clothes aside. Alara Quinn stared at the swirling clouds and emerald oceans of the planet. She had seen many worlds in her lifetime, but this one felt different. Strange patterns of light danced across the surface, almost as if the planet itself was alive. She tightened her grip on the edge of her seat and whispered to herself, I came for one thing. The words barely left her lips before the intercom crackled. Welcome to Observation Station X-17, said the calm, metallic voice. All incoming personnel, please prepare for docking. Alara exhaled slowly, smoothing the collar of her jacket. She was known for her calm demeanor, her ability to stay collected even in tense situations. But beneath that calm, excitement and curiosity burned. This station, orbiting a planet not yet fully understood, was home to some of the most advanced research humanity had ever conducted. Scientists from different corners of Earth worked here, studying alien artifacts, planetary anomalies, and phenomena that defied explanation. The shuttle's docking clamps engaged with a soft hiss. The cabin lights dimmed as the airlock began to equalize pressure. Alara stood, adjusting the strap of her bag. Inside were the tools of her trade: a compact scanner for alien languages, a portable lab kit, and a small recorder to document anything unusual. Everything else would have to wait until she had proper access to the station's main laboratories. The airlock doors opened, revealing a wide, gleaming corridor bathed in soft white light. A small group of station personnel waited to greet her. Most were human, though she could see a few alien assistants moving quietly in the background. Their movements were precise, almost ritualistic, like dancers performing a silent ballet. Dr. Quinn, said a voice, clear and authoritative. Commander Rylas, the station head, stepped forward. He was tall, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to look right through people. It's an honor to finally have you here. Your work with xenobiology and alien cognition precedes you. Alara offered a polite smile. Thank you, Commander. I've read your reports. It's impressive what your team has accomplished here. Rylas's eyes narrowed slightly, though his expression remained neutral. I hope your visit proves equally impressive. Not everyone succeeds where you are headed. Alara's smile didn't waver. I came for one thing, she whispered again, more to herself than to anyone else. The words were quiet, almost lost among the hum of the station's life support systems. But for some reason they drew attention. The room went silent. Even the aliens paused in their movements, tilting their heads as if listening. One of the younger scientists, a woman with short-cropped hair, glanced at Alara. Did she just say that? Yes, muttered another. I think she did. Alara ignored the murmurs. She was focused on what lay ahead. She knew the station held secrets, chambers and labs that even the station crew rarely entered. And somewhere within those sealed doors was the object of her mission. Something ancient, something that could change humanity's understanding of life itself. Commander Rylas led her through the corridors, speaking calmly about the station's operations. We are on the edge of a new frontier, he said. This planet has shown evidence of a highly advanced civilization, though no living beings remain. Most of what we study are remnants, machines, symbols, and structures that hint at intelligence far beyond our own. Alara listened, nodding occasionally. Her mind was already cataloging possibilities. Every sentence from Rylas contained clues, small pieces of a puzzle she intended to solve. They reached a wide observation deck, the walls made entirely of transparent alloy, offering a panoramic view of the planet below. Massive rings of cloud swirled over vast green landscapes, broken by dark, geometric shapes that could only be artificial. The structures were too precise, too ordered to be natural formations. They looked almost like cities, or perhaps laboratories built by a civilization that had long since vanished. Remarkable, isn't it? Rylas said. Even from orbit, the scale is staggering. We've only begun to understand their technology. Alara stepped closer to the glass, her reflection merging with the view of the world below. And yet, she said softly, so much remains unknown. That is what makes it exciting. Her words were true, but they were also a warning. Whatever she sought on this station, she knew it would not be easy to find. The ancient intelligence that built these artifacts had designed them to resist interference, to test those who came too close. A subtle chime echoed through the deck, drawing their attention to a panel on the wall. A small holographic map of the station appeared, highlighting areas restricted to most personnel. One area glowed brighter than the others, a section marked only as Sector 9, Quarantine Zone. "That's where your mission begins," Ryla said, his voice calm but firm. "Sector 9 has been off-limits for decades. It contains artifacts that are unusual. No one has fully accessed them. If anyone can succeed, it is you." Alara nodded, her heart quickening. She had expected challenges, but the weight of the moment was palpable. Sector 9 could contain knowledge, or it could contain danger, and she was determined to face whatever awaited. She moved through the corridors, passing rows of labs and storage rooms filled with glowing crystals, devices she could barely comprehend, and holographic screens that displayed alien languages. The station was alive with activity, yet there was an unspoken tension. Every scientist and assistant seemed aware that something significant was happening, something beyond ordinary research. Alara finally reached a reinforced door, its surface etched with symbols she did not immediately recognize. She ran her hand over the etchings, feeling a subtle vibration beneath her fingertips. The door was locked, but she was prepared. She retrieved a small device from her bag, a scanner capable of interpreting alien scripts and unlocking access protocols. The scanner hummed and clicked, analyzing the patterns. Alara's brow furrowed in concentration. She had studied alien languages extensively, but every civilization had its nuances. A single misstep could trigger alarms, or worse. Minutes passed, though it felt like hours. Finally, the device emitted a soft beep, and the door panel glowed green. Alara stepped back as the massive door slowly slid open, revealing a dimly lit corridor beyond. The air was cooler here, tinged with a metallic scent. Shadows danced across the walls as soft lights flickered, illuminating artifacts that seemed to float in their cases, suspended by invisible fields. Her pulse quickened. This was the place she had come for, the heart of the station's mysteries. She knew that within these walls, the quiet whispers of the past waited to be heard. Every artifact, every symbol, every faint hum of machinery was a clue, and she intended to uncover them all. As she stepped into the corridor, a soft voice echoed behind her, barely audible over the hum of the station. "Be careful, Dr. Quinn," someone said. She turned, seeing the young scientist from before. "This sector, it's different. It changes people." Alara gave a small, reassuring smile. "I came for one thing," she repeated louder this time so that those nearby could hear. The words carried authority, confidence, and a hint of mystery. "And I will see it through." The room remained silent, not from fear, but from attention. Every eye was on her now. Even the alien assistants paused, tilting their heads in curiosity. Something about Alara's presence seemed to command respect, even from those who did not share her species. She moved forward, her steps measured and deliberate. Each artifact she passed hummed softly, as if responding to her presence. Her scanner picked up faint energy readings, patterns she could barely interpret, but she did not need to understand everything yet. Patience was key. Observation, analysis, and cautious action would reveal the answers she sought. The corridor opened into a wide chamber. In the center stood a pedestal, empty except for a faint glow emanating from its surface. Surrounding it were machines that seemed alive, pulsing rhythmically as if breathing. Alara approached cautiously, her eyes scanning for traps or sensors. She was trained for this. Her experience in xenobiology and alien cognition had prepared her for moments like this. As she reached out to touch the pedestal, a soft vibration ran through the floor. A holographic interface sprang to life, projecting symbols in the air. They were unlike any she had seen before, fluid, dynamic, and alive. Her scanner immediately began to interpret them, translating patterns into recognizable language. And then, as if acknowledging her arrival, the chamber went completely silent. Every hum, every vibration, every faint whisper of machinery ceased. It was as if the entire sector was holding its breath, waiting for her next move. Alara stood still, feeling the weight of the moment. She had arrived. She had passed through the station, navigated the corridors, and reached the heart of the mystery. The question now was simple, yet immense. Could she succeed where others had only dared to try? She whispered one last time, more to herself than anyone else. "I came for one thing." And then the chamber waited, silent, as if listening. The chamber remained silent after Alara's whisper. The glow from the pedestal pulsed softly, casting long shadows along the walls. Her scanner hummed, translating the fluid alien symbols into something she could understand. Each translation gave her a tiny glimpse into the mind of the civilization that had built this place. Alara stepped closer to the pedestal, her fingers hovering just above the surface. She felt a faint warmth, as if the object beneath her touch were alive. Her heart raced, not from fear, but from the thrill of discovery. She had spent years studying alien civilizations, but never had she encountered anything like this. The symbols were more than communication. They were a challenge, a puzzle designed to test whoever approached. She activated her portable analyzer and began recording the energy readings. Streams of data flowed across the device, showing patterns she had never seen before. The artifacts around her began to pulse in response, as though acknowledging her presence. It was subtle but unmistakable. "Fascinating," she whispered. "They weren't just leaving messages, they were leaving tests." The young scientist who had accompanied her, Mara, peeked into the chamber. "Tests? What kind of tests?" she asked, her voice almost trembling. Alara smiled faintly. "Intelligence, morality, problem-solving. Whoever built this didn't just want to communicate. They wanted to see if the next species could think, adapt, and choose wisely." Mara looked around nervously. The machines on the walls hummed with a rhythm that seemed almost like breathing. Even the air felt heavier, charged with energy that made the hairs on her arms stand up. Alara walked along the perimeter of the chamber, scanning the walls and artifacts. Some of the objects were clearly tools, though they were far beyond human technology. Others were intricate sculptures, seemingly decorative, yet each emitted faint energy signatures. One in particular caught her attention, a crystal sphere floating in a magnetic field. It glimmered with an inner light, constantly shifting in color, and seemed to respond when she moved closer. "This one," Alara said, her voice low, "might be the key to understanding the AI they left behind." The AI, the thought made Mara pause. "You mean there's an AI here?" Alara nodded. "Not just any AI, this one is ancient, advanced, and capable of testing an entire species. It was designed to evaluate intelligence, ethics, and adaptability. If we succeed, it could change everything humanity knows about the galaxy." Mara swallowed hard. "And if we fail?" Alara didn't answer immediately. Instead, she focused on the crystal sphere. The symbols from the pedestal projected faintly onto her scanner, forming a map of the chamber. She followed the lines, realizing they led to a hidden doorway along one wall. A faint panel glowed, almost invisible to the naked eye. "This is it," she said, "the entrance to the next section." With careful precision, Alara placed her scanner against the panel. A sequence of clicks and hums followed, and the doorway slid open, revealing a narrow corridor dimly lit by soft, white lights. The air was cooler here, and the faint hum of machinery grew stronger. Shadows danced along the walls, making the corridor feel alive. As they stepped inside, Mara couldn't help but whisper, "It feels like it's watching us." Alara nodded. "In a way, it is. Everything in this station is part of the test. The AI responds to presence, decisions, even thought patterns. We need to move carefully." The corridor led them to a larger chamber, filled with alien machinery and floating artifacts. Some objects rotated slowly in magnetic fields, while others pulsed with soft energy. In the center, a holographic projection displayed an alien landscape, vibrant with color and motion. It seemed alive, almost real. Alara approached the projection, running her fingers through the air above it. Streams of light responded to her touch, forming symbols and shapes she could just barely interpret. The projection showed a network of structures across the alien planet below, connected by beams of energy. She realized these were not just cities, they were nodes, part of a massive network built by the civilization long gone. "They had control over energy in ways we can barely imagine," she said. "Look at how it flows between structures. This isn't just architecture, it's a system, alive and reactive." Mara leaned closer, eyes wide. "It's beautiful, but what does it mean for us?" Alara's mind worked quickly. "It means the AI we're searching for was not just a machine. It was part of a system, designed to observe, learn, and test. Everything here is a clue. If we understand it, we might communicate with it, or at least prove we're capable of understanding it." She moved along the edges of the chamber, scanning each artifact carefully. Some emitted soft vibrations, others tiny bursts of light. Her scanner translated the energy into data she could analyze. One artifact, a small metallic cube, caught her attention. It rotated in place, responding to her presence, and then projected a new set of symbols into the air. Alara focused on the projection, interpreting the symbols with her device. They formed a set of instructions, a sequence of actions designed to unlock the next layer of the AI's chamber. It was complex, requiring logic, memory, and timing, almost like a puzzle meant to test her cognitive abilities. "This is incredible," she whispered. "It's not just a test of knowledge, it's a test of adaptability, observation, and teamwork. Whoever built this, they wanted to see if we could think as a species, not just as individuals." Myra watched in awe as Alara began following the instructions. She moved with careful precision, touching symbols in sequence, observing the responses, and adjusting her actions. The room seemed to respond to her, lights shifting and hums changing as if acknowledging her progress. After what felt like hours, the final symbol lit up, and the cube emitted a soft chime. A panel on the far wall slid open, revealing a small chamber beyond. Inside, a single pedestal glowed with an intense white light. The hum of machinery grew louder, resonating through the floor and walls. Alara stepped forward cautiously. The pedestal seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat. As she approached, the symbols projected into the air rearranged themselves, forming a pattern that her scanner interpreted as a greeting or a challenge. "It knows we're here," Mara said softly. "It's aware." Alara nodded. "Yes, and this is where the real test begins. The AI is not just a machine, it's intelligent. It will judge our actions, our decisions, and our ability to understand its world." The pedestal began to shift, revealing a sphere of light floating above it. The sphere pulsed with energy, casting beams that illuminated the chamber in a spectrum of colors. Alara could feel the energy brushing against her skin, as if the AI were reaching out to sense her presence. She extended her hand, letting her fingers hover just above the sphere. The light reacted, swirling around her hand, forming patterns that shifted faster and faster. Symbols flashed before her eyes, and her scanner struggled to keep up. She realized the AI was assessing her, learning from her reactions, testing her focus and adaptability. Mara stepped closer, watching intently. "What does it want?" Alara didn't answer immediately. She focused, letting her mind clear, observing every reaction, every change in the sphere's patterns. Slowly, she began to move, touching symbols in response to the light, following the rhythm of the pulses and responding to the challenges as they appeared. Minutes passed, though it felt like an eternity. The chamber seemed to breathe with her movements, the lights shifting in harmony with her actions. Finally, the sphere pulsed brightly once, then slowly dimmed. The hum of machinery softened, and the symbols rearranged themselves into a pattern that her scanner interpreted as approval. "It worked," Alara whispered, a smile tugging at her lips. "It recognizes us. The AI, it is aware of our presence and our understanding." Mara exhaled, relief washing over her. "So we passed the test." Alara shook her head gently. "This is just the beginning. The AI knows we're capable of understanding, but it will continue to test us. Each artifact, each challenge is part of a larger sequence. We need to proceed carefully." She looked around the chamber, eyes sharp and alert. The AI had made its presence known, and the station seemed alive with anticipation. Every artifact, every light, every vibration was part of the test. And Alara knew that the next step could be even more challenging. Yet, despite the tension, she felt a thrill of excitement. Humanity had faced countless challenges in the past, and now they were facing one unlike any other, a test left by a civilization far older and more advanced than themselves. And she was determined to rise to the occasion. Stepping forward, she whispered once more, almost to herself, "I came for one thing." The chamber pulsed softly, as if acknowledging her words. And in that silence, Alara knew that discovery, understanding, and perhaps even first contact were just within reach. The chamber did not return to its earlier calm after the sphere dimmed. Instead, the silence felt deeper, heavier, as if the space itself had become alert. Alara stood still beside the glowing pedestal, her breathing slow and controlled. The air carried a faint vibration now, not loud enough to hear, but strong enough to feel in her bones. Myra noticed it too. She wrapped her arms around herself and glanced at the walls. "Something changed," she said quietly. "Yes," Alara replied. "It noticed us more clearly." The symbols floating in the air began to move again. They no longer appeared as random patterns. They aligned into structured sequences, flowing from one shape to another with clear intent. Alara's scanner struggled, then stabilized, translating the meaning piece by piece. A single phrase appeared in her display. Observation phase complete. Mara's eyes widened. That means... It means the AI has finished watching how we think, Alara said. Now it wants interaction. As if responding to her words, the light in the chamber brightened. The floating sphere rose higher, stopping at eye level. Thin threads of light extended from it, connecting to the walls, the floor, and the artifacts around them. The entire room became part of a single system. Then, without warning, a voice filled the chamber. It was not loud, it was not threatening, it was calm, steady, and strangely clear. Identify, the voice said. Mara froze. Alara took a slow breath and stepped forward. I am Doctor. Alara Quinn, she said evenly, a human researcher. There was a brief pause, the light shifted color moving through soft shades of blue and white. Identity recorded, the voice replied. Second entity detected. I'm Mara, she said quickly. Human assistant researcher. Another pause, then identities accepted. Alara felt a quiet surge of relief. The AI was not hostile, it was methodical, curious. What do you want from us? Alara asked. The sphere rotated slowly. Clarification required, the voice replied. Purpose of presence. Alara did not hesitate. We seek understanding, she said. Not control, not harm, we came to learn. The light pulsed once, then again. The symbols shifted, rearranging into new forms. Alara's scanner translated the next message slowly, as if the AI were choosing its words with care. Previous visitors claimed similar intent, the voice said. Outcomes varied, Mara swallowed. Visitors, she whispered. Alara kept her focus on the sphere. We are not them, she said. Every species is different, every choice matters. Another pause followed. The chamber seemed to wait. Assertion noted, the AI replied. Evaluation continues. The floor beneath them shifted, not physically but visually. A holographic projection spread outward, replacing the metal surface with a detailed image of a world. Mountains rose in the distance. Vast cities glowed with energy. Beings moved through the streets, tall, graceful shapes made of light and shadow. Mara gasped softly. Is this them? Yes, Alara said. The builders. The voice spoke again. This representation displays a prior civilization AT peak stability. The scene changed. The cities expanded rapidly. Energy systems grew more complex. The beings advanced quickly, their technology evolving faster than their understanding. Then fractures appeared, systems overloaded, light flickered, the cities dimmed. Instability detected, the voice said calmly. Cause decision imbalance. Alara watched closely. You tested yourselves, she said, and failed. Accurate, the AI replied. Self-evaluation resulted in termination of expansion. Mara stared at the fading cities. You chose to stop. We chose preservation over dominance, the voice said. Knowledge was SCALED. Evaluator was left behind. Alara's heart beat faster. You, she said softly. Confirmed, the AI replied. This system functions as evaluator. The hologram shifted again. This time it displayed unfamiliar worlds, some thriving, others broken. The AI spoke with steady precision. Multiple species have been observed, it said. Most failed evaluation. Mara looked at Alara, fear and awe mixing in her expression. What happens when a species fails? The AI answered without emotion. Access DENIED, knowledge WITHHELD. Alara nodded slowly. And if a species succeeds? The sphere brightened. Cooperation initiated. The room grew quiet again. The weight of that word, cooperation, settled heavily in Alara's mind. This was not a weapon, not a trap. It was a gate. What do we need to do? Alara asked. The AI responded immediately. Demonstrate capacity for balance. Balance between what? Mara asked. Intellect and restraint, the voice replied. Innovation and responsibility, survival and empathy. The hologram changed once more. This time it showed Earth. Oceans, continents, cities, and space stations appeared in perfect detail. Mara inhaled sharply. You know us, she said. Observation extends beyond this system, the AI replied. Humanity has been monitored. Alara felt a chill, but she kept her voice steady. Then you know we are not perfect. Imperfection is expected, the AI said. Static SYSDEMS fail, adaptive SYSDEMS endure. The hologram zoomed in on moments from human history. Not specific events, but patterns. Cooperation during crisis, sacrifice for others, innovation born from limitation. You survive because you help each other, the AI said. This is a positive trait. Mara's eyes filled with quiet emotion. It sees us, she whispered. Yes, Alara replied. But seeing is not the same as trusting. The AI paused longer this time. The chamber lights dimmed slightly, focusing attention on the sphere. Final phase requires active response, it said. A new projection formed. This one showed a theoretical scenario, an energy system capable of sustaining multiple worlds, but unstable. It required a choice. Options presented, the AI said. Maximum output with high risk or limited output with long-term stability, Mara frowned. It's a test. Alara nodded. Not of intelligence, she said, of values. She stepped forward, studying the projection carefully. If we choose maximum output, many worlds benefit quickly, she said, but failure would cause collapse. And limited output? Mara asked. Slower progress, Alara replied, but safer, sustainable. The AI remained silent, waiting. Mara looked at Alara. People back home would want the faster option, she said. The results would be incredible. Alara closed her eyes briefly. When she opened them, her decision was clear. Humanity has made that choice before, she said quietly. We learned the cost. She turned to the sphere. We choose stability, she said. Progress that lasts matters more than progress that burns bright and ends. The chamber reacted instantly. Light surged through the walls, flowing like water through invisible channels. The hologram stabilized, showing worlds growing slowly, carefully, without collapse. Response recorded, the AI said. The voice shifted subtly then. It was still calm, but something new was present. Approval. Evaluation status, provisional success. Myra let out a breath she had been holding. We did it. Alara allowed herself a small smile. We took the first real step. The sphere lowered slightly, no longer looming, but level with them. Continued interaction authorized, the AI said. Further evaluation required. The chamber lights returned to a steady glow. The tension eased, but did not disappear. Alara knew this was far from over. The AI was ancient, careful, and patient. It would continue to test them, not to judge, but to understand. As they prepared to leave the chamber, Mara looked back at the sphere. Do you think it trusts us? Alara paused at the doorway. Not yet, she said honestly. But it's listening. Behind them, the AI spoke one final time. Human representative, it said. Alara turned. Yes. Your initial statement has been analyzed, the voice said. She raised an eyebrow. Which one? The light pulsed softly. I came for one thing. Alara nodded slowly. Understanding, she said. There was a brief pause. Then the AI replied, Purpose ALIGNED. The chamber fell silent again, but this time it was not waiting. It was watching with interest. The moment Alara and Mara stepped out of the chamber, the station felt different. It was subtle at first. The corridor lights adjusted as they passed, growing slightly brighter, then dimmer again. Screens along the walls flickered with brief lines of unreadable symbols before returning to normal station data. The air carried a low vibration, like a distant echo traveling through metal. Mara noticed it immediately. The station knows, she said quietly. Yes, Alara replied, or rather it is being informed. They walked in silence for several minutes. Crew members passed them, but many paused, glancing up from their tasks. Some looked confused, others looked uneasy. A few simply watched Alara with quiet curiosity, as if they sensed that something important had changed. A soft chime echoed through the corridor. Dr. Quinn, came Commander Rylas's voice over the station intercom. Please report to the Central Command Hall immediately. Alara did not look surprised. It was going to happen sooner or later, she said. Mara nodded, though her hands trembled slightly. Do you think they know what you activated? They know something, Alara said, enough to be concerned. The Central Command Hall was already crowded when they arrived. Scientists, engineers, and security officers stood around a large circular table. A massive holographic display hovered above it, showing the station, the planet below, and several glowing markers that had not been there before. Commander Rylas stood at the center. When he saw Alara, he raised a hand, and the room slowly went quiet. Doctor. Quinn, he said, his tone controlled but tight. Would you care to explain why half the station's systems just entered adaptive monitoring mode? Alara stepped forward calmly. Because the evaluator system has reactivated, she said, and it is now observing humanity directly. The room erupted into voices. Reactivated? Evaluator system? Is that even possible? Rylas raised his hand again. Silence returned, though tension filled the air. You are saying the ancient AI is active, he said carefully. Yes, Alara replied, not hostile, not dominant. Observing, testing. A senior engineer frowned. Testing us how? Alara looked around the room. Through our choices, our responses, our priorities. Myra stepped forward beside her. It already ran initial evaluations, logical reasoning, cooperation, long-term thinking. One of the scientists crossed their arms. And what happens if it decides we fail? Alara answered honestly. It withholds access, knowledge, cooperation. And if we succeed? Rylas asked. Alara met his eyes. Then humanity is no longer alone in its growth. The holographic display shifted suddenly. Symbols appeared across its smooth, flowing shapes identical to those in the chamber. The room went silent. The AI was not just watching Sector 9 anymore. It was present. Station personnel identified, the calm voice echoed through the hall. Observation expanded. Several people stiffened. A few took instinctive steps back. Rylas stood firm. You are in human-controlled space, he said clearly. State your intent. There was a pause longer than before. Intent, evaluation, the AI replied, not dominance. The display changed, showing simulations of energy systems, communication networks, and star routes. Knowledge EXISDS, the AI continued. Transfer requires trust. A scientist whispered, it's negotiating. Alara nodded. It always was. Rylas turned to her. You brought this here. Yes, she said, but it was always here waiting. The AI's voice spoke again. Humanity is a threshold, it said. Expansion rate increasing. Decision impact MULTIPLID. The hologram displayed branching futures, some stable, others fractured. You must decide how you wish to be seen. The words settled heavily over the room. Rylas exhaled slowly. You want proof, he said. Of what kind? Collective response, the AI answered. Not individual. Murmurs spread again. Alara stepped forward. It wants to see how we act together, she said. Not just what we know, but how we choose. The AI highlighted a section of the station's system's power distribution. Scenario initiated, it said. Energy redistribution required. Lights dimmed slightly across the hall. This is a simulation, the AI added. No permanent damage. Rylas turned to the engineers. Options? A technician brought up data. We can route extra power to the research labs. That would maximize output. Another shook her head. But that would strain life support in non-critical areas. A third spoke up. We could balance power evenly, lower output but no strain. The room grew quiet again. Alara did not speak immediately. She watched. This was not her choice to make. Rylas looked around at his team. Opinions, he said. Voices rose, but not an argument. Discussion followed, measured, careful. Scientists considered data. Engineers weighed risks. Medical staff spoke for crew safety. No one pushed for maximum gain without concern for others. Finally, Rylas looked at Alara. Consensus, he said. Balanced distribution. Alara nodded once. Proceed, Rylas ordered. The power levels stabilized. The station lights returned to normal. The AI spoke. Response logged, it said. Outcome stability prioritized. The hologram shifted, showing a steady future path. Trait confirmed, the AI continued. Collective responsibility. A quiet sense of relief spread through the room. Mara smiled softly. It's approving. Yes, Alara said, but it's still learning. The AI's presence did not fade. Instead, it remained, observing communications, systems, interactions, not interfering, watching. Over the next hours, the station adjusted. Some crew were uneasy, others were curious, a few were inspired. Alara stood at the observation deck later, looking down at the alien world below. Mara joined her. It feels strange, Mara said, being seen like this. Alara nodded. It is strange, but it's also honest. What if humanity changes because of it? Mara asked. Alara smiled faintly. We always change when we are challenged. Behind them, the station lights reflected softly against the glass. For the first time since arriving, Alara allowed herself to breathe deeply. Humanity had not been judged yet, but it had been noticed, and that, she knew, carried its own weight. Far below, the ancient structures on the planet pulsed faintly, responding to the AI's renewed activity. The test was no longer hidden. It was shared, and in that quiet moment, Alara understood something important. The silence that followed her whisper long ago was not emptiness. It was attention. The station had been quiet all night, not the usual quiet of empty halls or soft hums of machinery, but a deliberate, watchful quiet. The AI had spread its presence across observation station X-17. Every system, every screen, every glowing terminal now carried subtle signals, like threads connecting the crew and the station to something far older and far wiser than themselves. Alara stood in the central command hall, her hands clasped behind her back. She had spent hours reviewing data from the AI's observations. Every decision, every conversation, every collaboration between humans had been recorded and analyzed. Mara approached her, eyes wide with wonder. "Do you think it trusts us now?" Alara shook her head slowly. "Not fully," she said. "Trust is earned over time, but it sees potential. That's enough for now." A soft chime echoed through the station. The holographic display in the center of the room shifted, forming a single, brilliant sphere of light. It floated steadily, pulsing softly in rhythm with the AI's awareness. "Station personnel," the voice spoke, calm, neutral, precise. "Final phase of evaluation initiated." The room went completely silent. Even the machines seemed to pause as if holding their collective breath. Alara stepped forward. "Final phase," she repeated. "What does that mean?" The AI's voice did not answer in words at first. Instead, the holographic sphere projected an enormous network of energy paths. They spanned planets, moons, and space stations. At the center was a bright point, the station they were on. Lines of light extended outward, connecting stars and civilizations. "This is what you have been observing," the voice said. "This is what you may influence." Mara's voice trembled. "That's everything." "That's the galaxy," Alara nodded. "Not everything, but what the AI sees as possible, and it wants to know if humans are ready to handle it." The display shifted. Different scenarios unfolded. In one, the network grew too fast, energy lines overloading, systems collapsing. Worlds lost, civilization crumbled. In another, the expansion was slower, deliberate, careful. Technology advanced steadily, societies thrived, knowledge spread without destruction. "This is the ultimate test," Alara whispered. "Not a puzzle, not logic, it's judgment." The AI spoke again. "Your species has been observed, decisions recorded, actions analyzed, intentions evaluated." Mara glanced at Alara. "Do we answer it, or does it decide on its own?" Alara shook her head. "It waits for us, it wants to see our choice." She turned toward the room. The crew, now aware of the gravity of the moment, had gathered in the hall. Scientists, engineers, security officers, every discipline present stood quietly, looking to Alara for guidance. She stepped to the center of the circle. "Everyone," she said, her voice calm and firm, "the AI has given us a final test. It's not about knowledge, it's about choice. We must decide how humanity will proceed with the power it has earned or may earn in the future." The crew murmured. One senior engineer spoke up. "We could push for rapid expansion. Technology, colonies, energy distribution, we could leap ahead of other species." Another shook her head. "But the risk would be catastrophic. We could harm ourselves or others." Alara nodded. "And that is why this test exists. It is not punishment, it is understanding. The AI wants to see if we prioritize wisdom over speed, cooperation over dominance, responsibility over recklessness." Mara added softly, "We learned something in Sector 9. Knowledge without balance is dangerous." The crew fell silent again, considering the weight of their choice. Slowly, one by one, they spoke, not to debate, but to reach a collective understanding. Each voiced concern for sustainability, fairness, and safety. Each considered not just human benefit, but the balance of life across the systems they might affect. Finally, Rylas spoke. "We have discussed, debated, and reflected. Our choice is clear. We will advance deliberately. We will share knowledge carefully. We will expand, but with responsibility." Alara's heart quickened. This was the moment. She looked toward the sphere. "Final response formulated," the AI said. "Collective decision recorded, outcome evaluated." The room waited. The sphere pulsed brighter, then stabilized. The AI spoke with a voice that carried weight beyond its calm tone. "Humanity has demonstrated balance. Intentions align with sustainable progress. Capacity for responsible innovation confirmed." A soft cheer rose from the crew, though many remained still, sensing the significance of what had been acknowledged. Mara exhaled deeply. "We did it," she whispered. Alara smiled faintly, though her mind raced ahead. "We did what was required, but this is only the beginning." The AI continued. "Access to knowledge and technology initiated. Guidance will be provided. Observation will continue. Trust is conditional but established." A holographic interface appeared in front of Alara. It displayed schematics and data beyond anything humanity had seen. Energy systems capable of powering planets, materials that could withstand extreme conditions, algorithms that allowed instantaneous communication across interstellar distances. The room's atmosphere shifted from tension to awe. Every person present understood the significance. The AI was sharing. Humanity had earned access to knowledge that could accelerate its growth by centuries, but with it came responsibility and the weight of observation. Mara turned to Alara. "Do you think we're ready for this?" Alara studied the data, her mind already racing with possibilities and challenges. "We will be," she said. "We must be, because now we are seen not just by each other, but by something far greater." The sphere pulsed once, then projected a final message. "The trial is complete. Humanity has been recognized. Continued observation will ensure alignment. Progress and responsibility must coexist. Success is possible." Alara allowed herself a moment of quiet pride. The phrase recognition echoed in her mind. Humanity had faced doubt, curiosity, and the challenge of the unknown, and had shown that it could act with balance, wisdom, and cooperation. Rylas broke the silence. "Dr. Quinn, you led this. Humanity may never know how close we came to failure." Alara shook her head. "We all did this. Every choice mattered. Every action contributed. This is humanity's achievement, not mine." Mara smiled. I think it believes we are capable of more than we even know." Alara looked toward the observation deck. Below, the alien world shimmered with faint lights, responding to the AI's active network. Structures long dormant seemed to hum with new energy. Knowledge once hidden was now beginning to spread, guided by careful stewardship. The AI's voice spoke one last time, soft and clear. "Human representative, your purpose is ALIGNED. Intent confirmed. Proceed with awareness." Alara's whisper, which had started this journey, returned to her mind. "I came for one thing," she smiled, softly, aloud. "Understanding," she said. Mara reached out, touching her shoulder. "And now the galaxy will understand us too." Alara nodded. "Yes, but only if we continue to choose wisely." The station hummed around them, no longer a place of mere observation, but a bridge. A bridge between human curiosity and ancient intelligence. A bridge between potential and responsibility. Humanity had been tested, humanity had been seen, and humanity had passed. Outside the station, stars shone like scattered diamonds. The AI's energy network stretched subtly between worlds, linking planets, systems, and civilizations. Humanity had joined that network cautiously, wisely, as an observer and participant rather than a reckless invader. For the first time, Alara felt a sense of true awe, not at the alien technology, not at the advanced AI, but at the potential of humanity itself. Its ability to learn, to cooperate, to act responsibly under scrutiny had been recognized by something far older and far wiser than they were. And that recognition was a gift. As the station lights dimmed into soft, protective glow, Alara stood beside Mara and Rylas. Together they watched the alien world below. The silence was no longer tense. It was expectant, full of possibilities. The AI was watching, yes, but not to punish, to guide, to allow. And for the first time, humanity had a clear path forward. Alara whispered one last time, almost to herself, "We came for one thing, and we found much more." The room remained silent, but this silence was no longer empty. It was alive, full of promise, full of hope. Full of the quiet knowledge that humans, for all their flaws, could rise to meet the greatest challenges the galaxy had ever set before them. And the stars outside, shining softly against the blackness, seemed to shine just a little brighter in acknowledgement.